Good evening. Happy Monday. It's good to be here today. I actually, um, I might be a little dirty here, so forgive me if there's a little dirt on my face or gunk or whatever. I just got done not too long ago replacing the flushing mechanism in our toilet, so that was fun. We've been having some problems with the centerpiece that goes in the middle where it fills. We had one of those where there's a stopper on the top and the thing comes up, hits the stopper and comes down, and it popped the stopper off. And so the handle was going all the way down. Water was spraying everywhere. It would get water out of the tank. And so I went and picked up a new set and got that put in, and it's a bit of a struggle because when I got the pieces together or getting them pulling them apart initially, I realized I couldn't find my channel locks, and I needed them because the piece on the bottom is about this big around. So it definitely, was a bit of a struggle. So been dealing with that for most of the evening and finally got it done. And I think I might have a leak. I don't know. I'm going to test and see what it's like tomorrow and kind of keep an eye on it. But I may have done something to the seal or didn't sit right or something. I don't know. But either way, I'm a little tired, but I wanted to get on here and take care of this, take care of talking with you because I did promise yesterday that I was going to start some networking tips. I'm going to do 3 days of networking tips because I have quite a few and I hope that I don't repeat them. So I'm going to kind of go through them, but basically just want to, provide that value out here for you guys and, help you get better at doing what you're doing, help you get better at growing your business. So, to get right to it, we're going to go through some networking tips, part 1. I've got it set for 3 parts. We'll see kind of how it goes if we get more parts on that. But, we're going to get right into it. If you are watching live, feel free to go ahead and shoot me a comment. That way I can, see who's live watching me here. And, if you got any questions or anything, or you got feedback or you're getting value, feel free to throw that in the comments. I'd love to, see what you guys have to say with what we're doing. But otherwise, if you haven't commented before, there is a link in the description. Make sure you give StreamYard your permission so that way we can see your name. We are using StreamYard to stream here. So, we want to make sure that we have the ability to see who's commenting. But otherwise, to get right to it, networking tips part 1. So in networking, when you are networking and doing these kinds of things, one of the big things that you want to really pay attention to is you want to, make sure you have a real clear vision of why you're doing it. And for me, and a lot of people and my mentors and everybody who's really taught me what I know over the last couple of years here is number one goal is always be striving to add value to people. That's really the main point that I want to make is make sure you're adding value. Even when you're out networking, a lot of times we get stuck in the, we need to get a prospect. We need to get somebody into our business. We need to get somebody to start going through the process. And we need to just get that out of our head and lead with value. Value is going to gain more of a following. You're going to gain more trust. You're going to gain, start building that friendship right away if you have that. And so, that's something that I wanted just to put out there right away. Goal number 1, lead with value. Number 2, don't prejudge. When you're out networking, whether you're networking online, you're networking using traditional methods, you're calling friends or family, which personally, I don't promote the whole friends or family thing. I think that kind of puts a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth. But if you are doing that, I know there are people that still do that. Don't prejudge. There's people that you may talk to that you think, man, they'll never do this. They'll never do what I do. And they'll surprise you. They really will. So don't prejudge. Number 3, keep in mind that there's 2 categories of people when you're out networking. There's those that do and those that don't. It's really that simple. There's those that are going to. There's those that do, the winners. And then there's those that don't. And I'm going to say it, the losers. And not in a bad way to say like, oh, you're such a loser. But you have the winners and you have the losers. You have the doers and the don'ters. If you are talking to somebody, and here's actually a good example. So I'm going to give a personal example on this. So I was talking to a gentleman. This was a couple months ago, but I remember this conversation distinctly because I remember the follow-up that we had when this happened. So we were talking, and he turned around and was looking at something, and I was looking at something similar. And he's like, "Oh, have you ever tried this?" And I said, "No, I haven't." And he's like, "Oh man, I've tried this one and it's okay, but I'm really curious about this one, and I don't really know, if I want to switch or anything like that." I want to think we were looking at body wash or something like that. We were definitely in the personal care section. And we got to talking and found out that we're both computer guys. We're both really technical. We both have a lot of experience building computers, repairing computers, things like that. And we got onto the topic of what we do. And for most of you that are following me, you probably already know that my day job is working for Microsoft as a software support engineer on our escalation team. So I've got a lot of experience with software support, and it turns out that he's a application support specialist for a local company in town. And so we got on the same topic. We were talking, and then I asked him the question that really ties in with this one, those that do and those that don't. And I said, just curious, are you open to other opportunities? And he looked at me and he says, "Well, what kind of opportunities?" I said, "It doesn't matter. Just any opportunities. Are you open to other opportunities outside of your current job?" And he says, "Well, I don't really want to leave my job, but if there's something that I can do on the side, I guess it really depends on what the information is." Excuse me. So I said, "Well, no information whatsoever. Just flat out, yes or no. Are you open to new opportunities? Are you open to making an extra form of income, building yourself an ongoing income, doing something on the side of your day job that could potentially turn into a full-time thing in the future?" And he looked at me and says, "I don't think so." And I said, "Okay, sounds great. Well, it was nice chatting with you. Have a wonderful day." And I turned around and he goes, "Well, hey, whoa, hold on a second." He's like, "That's it? We're not going to chat more. We're not going to connect. We're not going to whatever." And I says, "Well, yeah, I mean, I'm up for connecting, but just being honest, I got to a point where I felt like you were a person that was looking for more. Based on our conversation, you were telling me that you've got a decent job and you're doing pretty well, but there's some things that some struggles that you have. And so I asked you a pretty basic question: Are you open to other opportunities? You asked what? And I said, it doesn't really matter what. Are you open or not? And he said, you said no. So at that point, there's really not much more of a conversation to have. And he goes, "Well, that's kind of crappy." He says that we can't even keep having a conversation. I said, "Well, I apologize. That I've got things I need to do. I mean, if you want to connect later on, that's great." And he goes, "No, you know what? That's fine. I don't care. Just go on your merry way." And so I did. And I went back and thought about it. And I was talking to my mentor about it. And he's like, "Well, that could have gone smoother and whatever." But if he was really looking for other things to do, if he was really had something out there, and I said, "Well, are you open to other opportunities?" He'd be like, "Well, yeah, what do you got?" He didn't say, "What do you got?" He said, "Well, it depends," and whatever, him and ha. That's the thing. That's not a doer. That's kind of more along the lines of a don'ter. So it's not the greatest example in the world, but here's the thing: our time is valuable. If we aren't really paying attention to our time, and we're chasing people that are maybeers or could beers or I don't knowers instead of chasing doers, we're going to be wasting our time putting the wrong people in our business. And those people are going to end up being couch potatoes and, negative Nancy's and things like that because they weren't really in it in the first place. So I did kind of go a little long on that point, and I apologize, but that one's important to me. There's those that do and those that don't. Don't confuse. Don't go in the middle line. If they do, great. Move on, move forward. If they don't, move on. So, number 4, consistency. I've talked about consistency before. I've talked about how it's great to, keep doing the same thing every day to build your skill set, and definitely keep on that, schedule things if you have to, do the same things every day. You're not going to build your skill set in one day and move on. The whole quote of Rome wasn't built in a day. Your profession, your confidence, your business, all that stuff was not built in one day. You're going to have to constantly be improving, constantly be learning. So definitely don't take away from the value of consistency, because you'll be surprised at how much you learn on that aspect. So, stick with that. Number 5, failure to failure without a loss of moment or enthusiasm. So again, failure to failure without a loss of enthusiasm. Don't let a failure get yourself down. If anything, go for those. Those failures are your learning points. Those are the times that you really are going to grow and stretch. Keep going with those, keep moving forward, make sure that you are, moving along with everything that you're doing, because I've always been told, so my mentors always told me, whether you do, you don't, that's great. So if you have a failure, maybe that was a don't, maybe you didn't get what you wanted, but you learned something. Doesn't matter what it was, you learned something. Maybe you learned of a new way to talk to somebody. Maybe you learned of a new objection. Maybe you learned of, a quirky thing that you did while you were talking to that person. And you're like, man, I was messing with my hair too much, or I blinked too much, or I was touching my glasses too much, whatever it was, those little things, those things are going to be learning experiences that you can take on and bridge the gap of those failures until the point where you start, not having to consciously think about those things. And lastly, don't let a victory get to your head. Stay grounded, keep your feet on the ground, because you'd be surprised at the amount of times, and I've done this plenty of times myself, where you go have a good day. Let's say a really good day. Let's say you're online, you're talking to people, you got 10 new prospects, 8 of them were good qualified leads, 6 of them agreed to get on a phone call with you, and you're just jazzed. Don't let that get to your head and move yourself into a point of, well, I'm awesome, I'm the best there is, I'm going to go. No, don't do that. Stay grounded and say, you know what? I had a great day. Let's move on to the next day, and let's make tomorrow a great day. And let's make the next day a great day, and just keep moving on like that. If you let those things get to your head, it's going to put you backwards further than you ever went forwards. You're going to go multiple steps back because you're going to think, oh, well, I can take a break tomorrow. No, every single day you need to keep consistent. Tie that in with the consistency. You have a victory, be consistent in your victories. The more victories you have, the more you're going to move yourself forward. So that's, just to recap real quick, number one goal, add value to people. Don't focus on the wrong things. Focus on value. Make sure you're adding value to people. The more value you add, the more that's going to come back. You sow more seeds, you're going to have more harvest. Number 2, don't prejudge. There may be people that you think won't do what you do. Don't be surprised if they do. And to be honest, you might be surprised that they do, but don't judge somebody and just say, oh, you're never going to do this. Number 3, there's 2 categories of people, those that do and those that don't. Don't lose sight of that. That's going to be the biggest time saver for you. Don't focus on people that are probably not going to do what you're doing. Don't focus on people that are don'ters. Focus on the doers. Number 4, consistency is key. Stay consistent every single day. Number 5, failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. That's a big one. I think the 2 most important ones are those 2 categories of people and the failure to failure without a loss of enthusiasm. Those are going to be huge to keep you moving forward and keep your motivation up. And lastly, don't let victories get to your head. Stay grounded, keep yourself on the level. When you have a big win, just take that, ride that out, get to the next day and focus on it day by day. Don't let that stuff set you back and make you think you can sit back and wait. Talk to any big successful business people. They're going to tell you what really got them to get to that level of success that you are seeing at that point for them right there was the every day, day in and day out, grind, doing the same things, building the skill sets, learning, failing every day, getting more no's than most people, getting, more quirky things that, maybe didn't go right. Just all these people that are super successful right now, they went through exactly what you're going through. And all you got to do is just push forward. So that's all from me right now. And I will talk to you tomorrow with part 2 of the networking tips. If you got some value out of this, feel free to shoot me a comment here. If you're watching on the replay, just give a little hashtag replay. And if you think there is somebody out there that could really use this, maybe they're struggling and you think, man, they could really use this. This could lift them up right now. Feel free to share it out to them. Let them know. Say, hey, here's some tips that might help you in your current situation. Don't be afraid of that. This is for anybody and everybody. This is completely free. Just send it out there and, let them get that value. And, if there are any questions, obviously I'm more than happy to answer whatever questions there are, and I appreciate your time and I hope you have a wonderful evening. Talk to you later. Bye.